sight, O
Recording in
Lord,
progress.
our strength and our Redeemer. Please be seated. Apparently a recording is in progress. Again, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Reverend Tom Fregoso. Tom is fine, and it is such a privilege to be here on this Jazz Mass Sunday. So, I welcome you as part of the beloved community. And on this Jazz Mass Sunday, a celebration that reminds us not just of music, but of movement, of rhythm, of how grace shows up when life doesn't follow the chart. Just this past Thursday, I caught up with your Crucifer Mark over a pizza in Berkeley. And we listened at North Beach Pizzeria to this wonderful band. There was flautists, there was Zydeco drums, there was bees, which I can't remember what they're called, but it was a lot of fun. And they were...
Argus.
Thank you.
Yep.
And was it jazz? Was it Zydeco? A spiritual that forgot it was sacred? It didn't matter. The musicians were in the groove. The Spirit was present. And I thought, this is what the gospel sounds like. When grace and groove meet in the same breath. When music becomes a kind of prayer. And we find ourselves now just a few days past the Aphelion. Has anybody ever heard that term before? Farmer's Almanac? It's the moment each year when the earth is farthest from the sun. And it's strange, isn't it? We're in July, and everything looks like it should be warm and close. But we're actually at our most distant. And maybe that's true for more than just the planets. Some of us have walked into the sanctuary maybe feeling far from the center. I am still shaken by what's happening in our world. Immigration raids, floods displacing children, and as a camp chaplain, I felt that deeply. I see and read about the return of diseases like measles, when we thought we'd long outgrow them. And we're still here. We're still orbiting, but maybe a little more distant than we'd like to admit. And yet, this is grace, that even at our farthest, we are still held by the love of Jesus. We are not cast out of orbit. We are not forgotten by God. And we are pulled slowly, faithfully back toward the light and love of the Spirit. And I think that's what jazz knows so well. Jazz doesn't run from distance or dissonance. It plays through it. It finds beauty in the stretch, in the unresolved chord, in the way a trumpet note can break your heart and heal it in the same breath. Now, on this holiday weekend, much of the country is celebrating independence. and I myself did yesterday with a barbecue. But here in this holy gathering, I'd like to mark a different remembrance, a different anniversary. The birthday of Louis Satchmo Armstrong, who was born on July 4th, 1901. And he was born into poverty, orphaned young, and Armstrong, Satchmo, if you will, didn't inherit freedom. He created it with a trumpet, a gravel voice, and an open heart. He sang America into something it hadn't yet become. And he once said, "What we play is life." And if you've ever had that kind of week where the only thing that understood your mood was a lonely horn, you know what he meant. Maybe jazz doesn't fix things, but maybe it tells the truth. It finds the light in the cracks. Which is exactly what the gospel is doing this morning. In Luke 10, Jesus sends out how many disciples? 70. Sends out 70 disciples. Now, were they all fully equipped and given everything? No. Not with power or polish. Nothing. No sandals. No bag. And maybe no backup plan. Just peace, presence, and the ability to sit down and eat whatever is set in front of them. And there's something so human about that. Jesus doesn't send them out fully equipped. He sends them out vulnerable, maybe awkward, scruffy. And they're told to stay in the first house that takes them in. No upgrades. No moving on if someone else has better food. Just be where you're welcomed. And trust that God will meet you there. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been one of those disciples. I've had weeks where I've showed up to life tired, maybe even a bit dusty, and not entirely sure why I was sent or what I'm doing there, but still called to speak peace into someone else's chaos. I think that's like jazz too. You play the next note. For me, I'm not sure where it's going or hoping, but let's keep going to name it. In 2 Kings, a military commander who wants a healing with fanfare, he shows up at the prophet Elisha's house expecting some big display. But Elisha doesn't even come outside. And he basically sends a message, go rinse off in the Jordan. I'm busy. That moment always makes me laugh. You can almost hear Naaman's, the king's, ego clunking to the ground. But there's truth again. Sometimes healing doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's muddy water. Sometimes it's a prophet who's tired. Sometimes it's a servant girl who sees more clearly than the kings. I think that's an upside-down kingdom. The music of grace played in unexpected keys here. And then Paul in Galatians brings it home. Bear one another's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. That's not theology. That's community. Dare I say that's jazz? Not solos, but an ensemble. Not perfection, but support. And I remember watching deacons in my childhood coming to church and then going to bring communion to the sick after the service. No pomp, just a warm hand on a shoulder, a prayer, maybe a folded napkin, and with a little cup of the wine. That was the gospel. Quiet, faithful, improvised grace, if you will. So friends, we may go out like the 70, not shiny, but real. May we stay in the places that welcome us. May we trust the muddy river, the unexpected note, the hard-won harmony. And may we remember that even when we feel far away, the Spirit is keeping time. The music is still playing. And grace is still improvising on our behalf. Amen.